We've done this list quite a few times, but let's see if it's changed over time. Call of Duty is a game of snipers. Even if you're not a big sniper, even if you hated sniping or you sucked at it like I did, you probably have at least a little bit of experience trying to snipe in Call of Duty, and that's because it's a central part of how the game is played. At least it was until a few years ago. Sniping in COD will never go away, and the sniping community often has to go, they often have their go-to picks for the best of the pack. However, there's some overlooked snipers throughout the franchise. Yep. That's what we're talking about, the 10 most underrated snipers in COD history. Let's get the channel some positive vibes in the comment for COD 2023 because it seriously needs them. And here we go. I lied, we're about to go. If you need anything G Fuel in the month of July, use code CHAOS. Link is at the top description. We have G Fuel's 11th anniversary. We have the launch of Hype Sauce hydration tubs. We have the launch of Lime Margaritas. And Amazon Prime Day is coming up as well. Take advantage, guys. July is absolutely stacked with G Fuel special. And now here we go at number 10. The Dragunov in Modern Warfare 2019. I'm the only one that thought this gun was maybe getting a little too much hate. I know it's a Dragunov, and I've hated on it more than anybody, so I'm kind of being a hypocrite here. I'm totally in favor of dumping on it. I am. Whenever I get the chance, because it's a crappy gun, and it just keeps getting put in Call of Duty. I feel like there's a developer that's been with the franchise since the beginning, and they never got fired, they never left, they never got laid off, they never switched jobs, and they always sneak in the Dragunov. That's how I feel it happened. Now, the 2019 version has a lot of potential thanks to the gunsmith. You get the right attachments, this thing could actually be a one-shot machine that you could crank up the mobility on if you're willing to aim a little more precisely. It wasn't going to dethrone the car, it wasn't going to dethrone the SPR or anything like that, but it's better than people thought. I think with the right attachments, it was upper mid-tier compared to other snipers. It's not too shabby. At number 9, the Barrett 50 cal in Modern Warfare 3. It's one of the most iconic sniper rifles in history, and it's appeared a lot in Call of Duty, but most players agree it hit way too hard. It got hit way too hard, with the Nerf hammer in MW3. This Barrett was slower than its COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2 counterparts, and since stopping power was removed, it meant one-shot kills weren't a guarantee. But if you put in the time and you figured out the right class for this version of the Barrett, it was really good. The movement speeds were the main problem of the Modern Warfare 3 Barrett, but the damage per shot was high and the big magazine made it great for spamming up close. I think a lot of people slept on this only because it wasn't as good as the previous versions. And if you're playing Modern Warfare 3 Plutonium, give it another try. At number 8, the MK2 carbine in Modern Warfare 2019. Technically, this gun is not a sniper, I know. But I'm going to put it on the list anyways because a lot of people picked it up for the quick scoping needs instead of a proper bolt action sniper, and I get it. The carbine is a lever action rifle, very fast fire rate, very small one-shot kill range. For that reason, it was often set aside by players who didn't want to put in the hours, and fair enough, I get that, but that doesn't mean the weapon should be written off. The carbine was a monster in the right hands, and even though it was extremely hard to use, it was one of my favorite guns to watch during the first few months of the game and the original Warzone. Frankly, if you saw someone running around with the MK2 in Warzone, you might as well have just backed out of the lobby because they were about to put you in a montage. Moving on to number 7, we have the Pellington in Black Ops Cold War. Am I crazy or have a lot of people written this rifle completely off? Cold War did the sniping community pretty dirty. I know, the changes that were made, the mechanics, post-launch, all that. It kind of felt like you could never get a handle on the sniping in the game because you never knew if Treyarch was going to pull the rug out from underneath you in the next patch. But I don't think anyone ever considered the Pellington to be the top of the pack, and I don't get it. Most people were using the Tundra. I know, better ammo capacity, maybe the K31 for better speed, but the Pellington, I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading the community, but I felt like it was the outlier. Compared to the other snipers, it took much longer to reload, seemed to have less consistent one-shot kill range, but I thought it was more old school. It really reminded me of the classic M40A3 from COD 4. Maybe that's just my nostalgia roots kicking in and talking, but I think the community should have been nicer. I think it was as good as the Tundra. Maybe even better? At number 6, the L118 in Ghosts. When you think of snipers in Ghosts, chances are you think of the USR. Nothing else. Fair enough. The USR was hands down the best sniper in the game and pretty much the only one that got any attention from community thanks to the smooth handling and the generous one-shot kill range. But the other bolt-action sniper, this one, had a lot of merit to it, and I think it was a bit unfairly thrown aside by a lot of people during the Ghost era. It was slower, yes. It was heavier, yes. But it was good. Yes, it was harder to use aggressively, but it also featured a huge one-shot kill range and superb accuracy. Basically, if you wanted to quickscope, use the USR. If you were a slower, more methodical player, I say the L118. Ghost was a weird game, and a lot of people hated it for perfectly valid reasons, but one thing will not be denied. Sniping was good. At number 5, the AX50 in Modern Warfare 2019. Now, this game had a handful of popular snipers in both multiplayer Warzone, but the AX50, it wasn't one of them. The HDR was your go-to heavy-hitting rifle for long range. The CAR was obviously your quick-scoping weapon of choice until the SPR came along, but the AXE, it didn't get love. It had a fan club, yes, but a lot of people saw it as an awkward middle ground between the CAR and the HDR. They just didn't want to use it. Now, compared to the CAR, it was heavier, not nearly as good for aggressive play, but compared to the HDR, it was weaker and harder to hit long-range shots with. But if you figured out the right build for the AXE, it could be the best of both worlds. You had to aim high, stay on your toes, but I thought it was a good middle ground. I did. Plus, if you put the monolithic on it, it had one of the coolest firing sounds in COD history. At number 4, the Rytec AMR in Modern Warfare 2019. Yes, I'm here. I went here. I know it was largely hated by the COD community. It was added to the game as DLC. I get it. Big, bulky, heavy, awkward, basically impossible to use aggressively. But there was one specific situation where the Rytec was incredible. Ground War. The sniper was genuinely amazing in Ground War because not only could it one-shot enemies from literally any distance if you were using one of the ammo conversions, but it could also be loaded with incendiary or explosive rounds that made it perfect for shooting down kill streaks without needing a rocket launcher. I mean, the Rytec with point man munitions boxes and a full-kitted pistol was one of the best ways to play Ground War in this game. Even though this gun sucked in 6v6 in Warzone, it needs some love for Ground War. Plus, those explosive rounds were one of the most satisfying things ever put in a first-person shooter. Blowing someone's head off from 200 meters? Woo! At number 3. The Outlaw in Black Ops 4. You expected this one to show up. I know you did. It honestly surprises me that there's still so much discourse in the community surrounding the Outlaw. It was the fastest bolt-action sniper ever put in a COD game, but the trade-off was low damage. It could only achieve an insta-kill if you landed a headshot. Now, a lot of people were and still are put off by the idea of using a bolt-action sniper that rarely gets one-shot kills. But there was a passionate group in the community that put in the time to get really good with this and really good at popping people in the head with it, which allowed them to take full advantage of the insane fire rate. If you had good aim and knew how to play this weapon, you could get some of the craziest montage clips in COD history. But the skill gap was the main issue with the Outlaw, and to this day, it's one of the most hated guns in the franchise. At number 2, the Dragunov in Modern Warfare 3. Now, it gets a lot of hate from the COD community. Frankly, I get it. It's a gun that just keeps showing up, like I said before. But it also usually is pretty terrible, particularly with the Black Ops 1 version. But this version, it got forgotten. I mean, the Modern Warfare 3 Drag had some good handling. It was basically an MK14 with a scope. The one-shot kill range, generous. Magazine was big. Yes, it kicked like a mule, but if you put the ACOG on it, you could actually get some cheesy clips. It obviously wasn't anywhere near close to top tier, but it did have a little fan club, and I respect you guys that ran it back then. And at number 1, yeah, here we go again. The Drag in COD 4. Let's do a third Drag on the list. Why not? Is the Dragunov really that bad of a gun? Or is it just overhated? You guys discuss it in the comments, a rather uncontroversial thing to say is that the COD 4 version of the Drag was underrated. The original COD, absolute monster in hardcore modes, and had a lot of potential in core as well if you used stopping power and you aimed high. The recoil wasn't as bad as you might remember, and that huge magazine was another bonus. Now, the hardcore sniping community stuck by the Drag back in COD 4, but outside of that group, it was hated. Bottom tier. This gun had a lot of merit to it. You just had to know where you were going with it and what you were doing. You could not treat it like other COD 4 snipers. And there you have it. Those are 10 underrated snipers. Kind of left field picks. Let me know if you agree or disagree.
Cracky.